Think about how you're going to sleep tonight. You crawl under the covers, lock your door, turn off the lights, and that's it. The biggest danger you face is your phone dropping on your face while watching this video. But now, let's take a little trip back in time. You're in the Paleolithic era. It's pitch black. You literally can't see an inch in front of your nose. Doors don't exist. And you're lying on the cold, damp ground. And the worst part? Out there in the dark, there are dozens of giant, starving predators with perfect night vision. And guess what? You are their dinner. For our ancestors, going to sleep wasn't a time to relax. It was a daily gamble against death. So, how on earth did primitive humans manage to survive the night without going extinct? Today, we're uncovering the most brilliant and downright crazy methods that kept us from being eaten in our sleep. The first answer that comes to mind when we think of a caveman is, well, a cave. Seems logical, right? You've got a stone roof, 3 solid walls, and only one entrance to keep an eye on. The perfect spot for a nap. So, our ancestors would grab their things and head straight inside, thinking, finally, a little safety. The problem is, someone else had the exact same idea. Someone much bigger, hairier, and definitely less willing to share the room. The cave bear. This monster weighed up to a ton and stood 11 feet tall. Spoiler alert, caves weren't homes for humans. They were homes for predators. And the worst part is, from a tactical standpoint, a cave was a death trap. If a predator stood right in front of the only entrance while you were sleeping, you were officially done for. There were no back exits. Realizing that caves were just a game of Russian roulette with death, humans had to get smart. And everything changed thanks to the most important discovery in history: fire. Humans quickly noticed that wild animals were absolutely terrified of flames. So, they came up with a killer strategy: the wall of fire. Before going to sleep, the tribe would light a series of bonfires all around the perimeter of the camp. The beasts of the night would approach, smelling human flesh, but facing that barrier of light and heat, they'd get scared and turn right around. It worked perfectly. But there was a massive weak point. Fire doesn't feed itself. You needed someone to stay awake all night throwing wood on it. And what if the guard fell asleep? Just a couple of hours of deep sleep from the watchman, the fire would go out, and the camp turned into an open-air buffet for lions. They needed a plan B. Since staying on the ground was too risky, humans decided to do something very simple: look up and copy leopards. They started climbing trees to spend the night on the highest branches. They would often tie themselves up with vines to keep from rolling off during a wild dream. Most of the big Ice Age predators couldn't climb vertical trees. This single move completely eliminated the risk of surprise attacks. Over time, this technique evolved into the first stilt houses or raised shelters. Humans built wooden platforms, lifted off the ground, and used rope ladders. Once everyone was up, they pulled the ladder up. They became literally unreachable. But the real game changer, the secret weapon that allowed our species to dominate the night, wasn't an invention. It was an alliance. Around 15,000 years ago, some wolves realized that hanging around human camps meant easy food, the leftovers from the hunt. Humans, on their part, noticed something extraordinary. Wolves had hearing and smell that were infinitely superior to ours. They could sense a predator approaching from miles away, in total darkness. When danger got close, the wolf would start growling or barking, acting as the perfect biological alarm system. In exchange for a bit of meat, wolves offered 24/7 protection. Humans could finally sleep soundly. It was the beginning of the dog, and the end of nighttime terror. So, the next time you pet your dog, or simply close your bedroom door, remember that if we're here today, It's because our ancestors spent millennia inventing absurd ways to avoid being chewed on in their sleep. If you enjoyed this journey into prehistoric survival, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next crazy stories. See you in the next video.